Hi there, my name is Graham. In Second Life, I'm known as Hrdtop75 Deluxe. I volunteer at the Virtual Railway Consortium. The Virtual Railway Consortium consists of members and groups that enjoy the railways around Second Life. They provide free open source scripts and builds for the residents to enjoy. In this series, I'm going to make a mesh locomotive from scratch using free software found on the net and open source scripts from the Virtual Railway Consortium. The reason why I'm making this series is to show you how it can be easy to make something from scratch and prevent DMCA takedowns. DMCA being Digital Millennium Copyright. But most importantly, help out newcomers to the railroads in Second Life. Join me live once a week, Mondays 5 PM Australian Eastern Standard Time or Sunday 2400 SLT. The video will also be available for viewing later as well. But for now, let's get on with the build. Okay, we should have sound. Should. Hope I don't have to have all these computers open at one time. Bloody hell. Okay, we should have sound. Okay, everything sounds good. But that happen. I should have my NDI source happen as well. We'll go ahead and check that out later on. Oh, what a mission. I think I'm going to have to do that for every single scene now too, to add the microphone in. I don't know why things are going crazy, and they are. Alright, we are on our last episode, and I have actually got the locomotive fully done. The whole lot is completed. The whole lot is done. She's up for sale right now, down on the boards, down in the main shop. One thing I want to start off with is why I wanted to do this series. I wanted to make it part of a series explaining money in Second Life. There's not a lot of videos out there showing you how to make money. I started off with a few, like the fishing, I can't even remember the name of it now, the fishing place, and a couple of the Linden Labs ones where you have to be a premium member to go and play that to get the cash out. When I first started, we had traffic cones, and you went on, found the code on the traffic cone, typed it in, and you sat there for 2-3 minutes or 5 minutes, whatever it was, and you got paid $2 for every time you sat there on a traffic cone. And that whole system now is gone, and I don't believe that there is any system left out there anymore that will actually cover the new players. So these days I think you're just going to have to start building and scripting to actually make the cash yourself. Or maybe there's other ways, like, you know, if you want to role play being in a job or something like that, then, you know. But this is the 20th episode of what I wanted to show as my guide to mesh modelling. You don't have to work your backside off on it. I did choose something that was probably a little bit too technical for a first timer. But it's somewhere to start, I guess. I used some of the very basic programs as well. Everything that you can use without purchasing a license to. Yeah, and once again, I didn't really get into the super complex part of the build. I didn't want it to be too daunting or too stressful for new players to have a look at. There's a lot of things in Blender that I don't even know of, but there's a lot of things that I didn't want to show as well, just simply because it can get too overboard. It'll put too much in the brain in one hit, and you're better off just doing something over and over and over again, and then learning that little piece every step of the way. As for the locomotive and carriages, why did I choose them carriages? Why did I choose that locomotive? I've actually built that locomotive before. I wanted to remake it in mesh because I knew I had not a great deal of detail on my first build. I also wanted to make this locomotive to be paired up with another locomotive, or to make a day tripper style of a consist as well. The carriages, they're a very common carriage, and I think I can reuse that carriage over and over and over again. That's the reason behind them, anyway. The reason why I wanted to build them carriages was also I've got another build coming up where I want to use them carriages once again. The other thing I want to have a look at, well, yeah, as you can see here, this is where we first started the build. And obviously it's gotten too big for this room as a starting point, so we've obviously moved it into the larger area where I have scripted it. It's sitting out here, and there's an invisible prim there, that's why I just went sideways. You'll see out the top here, I've built the whole lot up. Now currently I can't use this locomotive because I've actually sold it. I've sold it to another avatar that is one of my other accounts, and that account actually controls all the money ins and outs, so prevents me from doing things and stuff like that, and they take control of all the advertising, stuff like that, and I just build. That's all I do. As for all the cubes in the air, that's all the lighting and stuff that I've used. Once I was all really happy with what I had, and I set all the permissions properly to where the other person that was involved in this build, when they were happy with the permissions that I set, then I was able to go ahead and package it up. The thing that had to be done, or the permissions that had to be done, was an API for grid haul. That's similar to the get the freight out kind of thing, and I had to make sure that I had all that safe and secure within the locomotive. And I must say it was a lot easier to use as well in the locomotive. Once I had it all ready and everything was happy to go, we ended up packaging it up. We shrank it down, put it all into packaging, make it look like a toy train, something like that. So you buy it from the vendor gives you this package, and then you open it up and you get the large locomotive out. It's just a little spin that I like to throw on things. Gives people something to look at. As for scripting, I used to have a lot of problems with scripting the carriages and all that, but I've noticed that now, with everything being up in the cloud, the sim crossings seem to be a lot better, and I don't have a lot of problems. However, if your avatar doesn't do the same in the handshake, it just crashes you. Why is that a problem? I've got no idea. I've really got no idea. That's definitely a question for the labs. So as for how we got to where we are now, obviously we started off in Blender. Going to second morph. Hopefully my Yeti will keep working. It looks as if it's going to, which is good. And we'll keep going around, and that's where we started. Go to object mode. As you can see, exactly the same as what we've got in the game at the moment. And I was quite happy with what we've done. Obviously, the texturing was done in GIMP, which is another free program, which is right there, and you'll also see that back in Blender. If I bring this down, there's our texture right there. The texture does actually go down to the bottom. So that's where we first started, and now we've got everything ready, everything's going, everything's running very well. And what I will do, I don't know if I can do it or not, I don't know if I'll be able to. Oh yeah, I've got full perms over. I was going to make sure that, just got to make sure that I've got my sounds working for Second Life. Looks as if they're playing up now. Come on. Doesn't want to work. Nope, we're working. Everything seems to be fine. Okay, stand up. I have to do a whole sound test on everything once again. This is crazy. It's funny, I had a problem with a CD drive and took the computer off the system, brought it back, and then the whole system just played up. It's really weird. Okay, so that's where we are with everything there. The step I did after that, after packaging it up, I actually took a copy down to the ground, which I'll do right now. Don't know why my game's so quiet. Very strange. Because I had my headset turned down. Silly. Okay, so as for lighting and things like that, I actually looked into, as for advertising, I really wanted to work on the sun and all the actual proper lights that are there, but I knew first that I had to get my lighting correct first. Oops, I got the wrong locomotive now. Okay, let's get rid of that. Objects, textures, trash. There's one. There you go. You can see I've got a no modify, no transfer. Even though I built it. That's the reason. The reason why is because I've actually got that on another account now. So I jump on there. I'm going to chat in local chat. Carriage, capital R-E-Z, all one word. Brings out all the carriages. Shift right, oh sorry, shift left, turn it around. She's a bit loud. And what I basically wanted was a place to actually take a really nice crisp shot with the locomotive for a good advertising. That's basically what I wanted anyway. So I thought the best place to do that would be obviously on my land. I'm guessing you could do this anywhere that you actually want to do it, as long as you manage to do things in time. I think most of the SLRR is 10 minutes, auto return. So obviously I just jumped out and I set up all my lighting so that everything would be really nice. I tried to eliminate shadows as well. And then with everything in place, obviously I don't have everything in place to how I had it last time, but then I tweaked my viewer preferences. I think I even put my draw distance down too, just to get rid of things that I didn't want to see. It looks pretty good there, and then I just went around and played around with the world environment settings. So I went to not my environments, I went to, I think it might be mine. No. World, environments, personal. There you go. And I just played around with the lighting until I got the right effect that I was after. I wanted shadows all in the right spots. You can see where the sun is there. You can actually shift the sun around. I don't know if you can see that gold ball up the top there moving around. I'll turn my cursor on so you can see what I'm doing. I think I've got it all on anyway. So I just moved the sun around to get the shadows where I preferably wanted them. I tried to make, you can see a couple of the cubes on the ground. I tried moving the cubes around so that they were disappeared, they're not in the shot, sorry. Basically just moved it around, had a bit of fun with it anyway. From there, once I had my lighting and everything correct, I just did a quick screenshot with the print screen button on the keyboard and put that straight into GIMP, which I'll see if I can find it. I should have opened it. I've come into this very unprepared. If it'll let me. Packaging. There we go, open up. Which is not centered where I want. No, I don't want to go full screen, come on. Anyway, that's basically it there. Move them off to the sides. So I picked a really very simple kind of a view. I did a bit of work in the background there with the haze, just to make sure that things in the background that I didn't want there, that they were all gone. You can obviously Photoshop it out if you want, but I just found it easier to put a bit of fog in the background. But that's basically what I did. All the fog and the hazes in the world environment, personal lighting, clouds, haze densities. You can see it gets really dark or it gets really light. Turn your haze up really high. No, scene gamma. You can see you can really brighten it up. I just picked something that was good enough for me. So something that showed a lot of the detail in locomotive and everything. That's what I did. And then I just used layer after layer after layer of cubes of colour. Should we go back to that picture? As you can see, we've used a cube on a 45, words on a 45, just a lot of words, a bit of a description of what the purchase is, and obviously what system it's going to be running if you want to do the transport hauling. So that's basically what we got up to. What I've been up to anyway. Well, that's going to give me absolutely that will send me crazy if I keep it like that. Okay. Now, once you've got everything like that and you set it all up, your advertising or your main advertising picture's done, you've got your objects and everything done, everything's ready to go. You're happy with the product, you've tested it, and I'll tell you what, that's a key thing, always test. Don't just test it once, test it millions of times. Nothing worse than people going, it doesn't work. But then knowing that they haven't quite understood how to use it anyway. And there you go, there's the image on the wall. I use Caspertech. The reason why is because people can have it as an affiliate board on their own land. I've got a few of them getting around the atoll now, and occasionally I get a little bit of money off other purchases. I've currently got this whole build set at 1,000 Linden dollars, which isn't a great deal of money. It's only like maybe $10, Australian dollars that is. And the best thing about it is it's there in a cube upstairs next to the chairs. It's in there, and I don't have to make another one. It's there. It'll just keep repeating itself over and over and over again. I've built it once, that's it. On to the next project. It's not like someone sitting in their shed where they have to go and grind a piece of metal or weld a piece of metal to make that same object over and over again. This is just, it's done. You put it in a box and it keeps sending itself out. Like an auto farm. So to use the system, I don't actually own the system. That's my other account that owns it. So all you have to do to go into this is put the object that you want to sell in the box upstairs, which is next to the chairs. Make sure it's got a name, make sure it's got everything like that. Come back down here and go into the Casper vend and tell it that you want to make a new product. Give it the UUID to the image that you just made, like the one that I just showed you. And then just write out a few little forms. It's not forms like as in you're signing your life away or anything like that. It's more or less what the object is. Is it copy? Is it non-transferable? What is it? A brief description. YouTube links, which is something I'm going to talk about next. Things like that to help you push the product along. So that is now a sellable object. Obviously, there's not a lot of people that know about it being on the wall. Maybe a few people will after this video. But that is basically how I go about making money in Second Life. A lot of people say, oh, you haven't been online, you haven't been online. I spend a lot of my time in Blender. As you've seen in most of the videos, it takes me a couple of seconds to actually get there and make the image, but it takes a little while to make the 3D object. Now, the thing as for lighting the images, sorry, I'll just quickly show you this. If you want to make a light, you can see there that I've got a light and it's pointed at, it's kind of pointed in that direction. What I do is I go to features and I tick light on there. So if I go to world, environment, midnight, there we go. You can see how the light's kind of pointing down here. It's kind of spreading. You can actually use different coloured lights, as you can see there. We just want that colour. You can even put a focal image on there as well. Light projection, there you go. It's kind of turned it a little bit yellow because of the image that I put on there. But now you can rotate that to wherever you want. So give that a little bit more flexibility. Obviously when you're taking your pictures you don't want a big line like that coming across your shot. You don't want that. You're pretty painful. So spend a lot of time on making that image and it'll look great and it'll be there forever as well. That's the best part. Next thing is and it's probably the last thing too that I have to do, is just make a quick YouTube video. You've obviously seen the one I've used for this locomotive over here. You've obviously seen that one in use. I took a whole heap of videos of this locomotive around Bay City. I think I even took the cover shot for it down at Bay City. I did a whole heap of video footage of it around Hrdtop Atoll and also around Belisaria. For now, I've got to have a think about where I'm going to be filming. Now, obviously, I can't film that here with what I've got going now, because if I want a really nice crispy image, a good nice video with like shadows and everything like that, I'm going to need to run two PCs, one capturing clean off the graphics card, doing a high quality form of video footage, something that I can render down into Sony Vegas is what I'm going to use, and that's the only program that I've actually bought a license to. The whole time, however long I've been in the Second Life, 10 years and 3 months. The whole 10 years and 3 months, I've only ever purchased Sony Vegas 12. That's it. That's all I've ever purchased. And I think that cost me $80 Australian, and I'm pretty sure I've got well over $80 worth out of it. Hey, Will, how's it going? So that's where I'm at the moment, and this is the last episode. I was pushed a little bit along as well because I was asked to push it along, move it along, because there was some people wanting the copy of it so they could start doing their grid haul challenges. Apparently this is going to be the first grid haul locomotive getting around, so you know where to get it from anyway. We're just a tulip tree. There's also other vendors as well around the atoll. It's just a nice basic one down at Tulip Tree, opposite the VRC. I reckon we put this world scene environment back to shared. And I reckon I'm going to have to go and have a look around for some really good quality places to actually film from. Obviously I'm going to be taking a lot of video footage from all the live streams that I've done here before. All changed over. Oops. Silly me, press cancel instead. So she's all for sale and everything's good, running. Everything's working well. I did have a problem with the cab doors. I actually had a problem with the... it kind of looked wrinkled. It just wasn't flat. And the reason behind that was because a lot of my verts, they weren't in alignment. Why they weren't in alignment, I've got no idea why. So basically what I did is I went to the side view, highlighted one side, and actually scaled it so it was all flat again. And then I still had problems, and we got an error. Because Second Life hates me. This is that problem I was telling you about. This is a sim crossing failure. So I'm going to log out. How wonderful. Good to go back log in again. Okay. So when I like to film and do my own, filming, I use two avatars. I use one to control the object that I'm trying to sell, and I'll stick another one in the bush somewhere, somewhere where everything, hopefully this is going to load up, just the joy of Second Life at the moment. Luckily it wasn't too far from home. the same region. Look at that. It's put me in the wrong frame. Oh my god. Have to get to the next res area. But for the filming, I find that's probably the most critical part. Getting that image spot on, like just really nice and crispy. Well, at least that works again. Bloody hell. There we go. Fixed it. So, when it comes to the actual filming of what I'm going to do, it is actually best to use two PCs if you're doing it by yourself, obviously. I find that if you leave one avatar where you want to film, like in a blocked out situation, then you can actually get there and have everything rendered out, ready to go, and then have the train pass by. I find that to be the easiest all the time. Then you can turn your graphics on, have your shadows out the whole time. It looks really good then. Whereas if I was to sit here and do this now, let's say I turn my draw distance up, which will lag me out a little bit. Right, if I go all the way out to here, you can see the ground's not there. By the time that locomotive comes around the bend, all these textures won't be loaded. So that's why I always have something further up the line to actually be able to have everything rendered in. And I'm obviously going to have problems here because the cobblestone down here is actually transparent. Got a transparent layer in it. And that's always painful to load. You can see the locomotive's already in the shot. And everything's still not textured in yet. So it's always handy to either put the operator of the object on a really crappy computer, put them off somewhere else, and get your main computer, your real beefy one, to do a good recording. There's a few different ways to record these days as well. You can stream it straight to YouTube. That'll do a really nice crispy recording. You can download that later on. Or you can use something like Streamlabs to actually go straight to your hard drive. That'll actually save it in like a file folder somewhere for you. When it comes to filming, I prefer to use, as you can see right now in the field of view right in front of me here, that texture still hasn't loaded up. Oh, here we go, now we're getting the station. So it's not the best way to go about things. And you can still see cobblestone still hasn't loaded for me. I reckon by the time the train gets into mid-shot, cobblestone would have loaded, which is too late. It's far too late. Beyond mid-shot. So if I had an avatar sitting where my camera is right now, that would have all been loaded in. I would have had the train come around, and then all the computer would have had to have done was just load the train. And it would have been that simple. But, you know, these things happen. That's why I use 2 avatars. Unfortunately, I can't do that at the moment because I'm streaming at the moment and I need the full bandwidth to be able to stream. What else we got? As for the recording, she's a bit laggy. We're gonna make it out of it. Tip for the beginners: I've got to get onto the lab soon and get that fixed too. For some reason, our friendly mole doesn't like putting down the sensors, so I'm gonna have to put in a file ticket. The other way of filming as well. So there's your 3 filming. One I used to use was, I don't even have it on the PC anymore. That's how outdated it was. I can't even remember the name of it now. It was really old. She's going to be sitting on maybe 15 years old now, the recording system that I used to use. I used to do screen capture as well, but it came out in a VXF file. By the time it went through and everything had to be, you know, manipulated, it was just painful to use. Now I use, on a PC, I use Windows G button, and Windows G brings up, actually, try it, see if I can do it for you. No, it doesn't show up. Okay, so Windows G is basically your gaming bar on a PC. You can go in there. I'll take a screenshot of it later and I'll put it up. Press Windows plus G on the keyboard. It brings up a whole control panel, and you can record videos, voice, the whole lot. Everything on your screen, you can do the whole lot. You can also do recordings, I believe, from Discord. However, I've never really been a big fan of Discord, so I wouldn't bother using that if you want a really nice, crisp kind of recording. I'd stick with the Windows G for now, and that'll automatically put it into a folder for your videos, your own private videos. That's pretty much what I'm up to next. As for the finished project, it looks pretty good. It's half decent. I haven't had any issues on the track yet. I've had issues with sim crossings, the handshake. That's about it. That's all I've had issues with. I've even managed to go around the whole atoll in almost the high settings. As you can see, Lights work really nicely. Going to mouse look. Oh, I haven't seen that before. Yeah, it's pretty cool anyway. Sounds pretty cool. I was planning on putting freight on the back of them carriages, but just running out of time and people wanted it built and out the door, so I would have been happy to have put way more stuff onto the carriages anyway. I wanted to put like maybe some coils or some rails, something to where you went and turned up to a point of pickup and you could touch the carriage and you could actually have the objects appear. I thought that would have been pretty cool. And then obviously you do delivery and just touch it again and they disappear. I thought that would have been pretty cool if you're like, you know, standing on the sidelines and then all of a sudden you see freight disappearing and stuff, like actually being delivered. I'm really happy with the build, and it does look pretty similar to what I wanted. The actual colour of the locomotive is a little bit darker, but that is because once I put shine on there and also bump map, it's actually given it that little bit darker colour. But she sounds good. She's loud. She's real good. Oh, here we go again. Not much fun, eh? Yeah, it's crashed me again. Second Life sim crossing problems. So I can't even go home. Teleport is currently blocked. Log out, log back in. So they obviously know about it if they know about logging in and out, just to fix the problem. But so far that's the project done. I just gotta make a video. You see a lot of people around Second Life Day kind of walk around aimlessly, not knowing what to do. There's tons of things you can do. You can go fishing, you can do racing. I was really hoping that that football thing that was coming up, I was really hoping that anyone could join that and become a football player. I thought that would have been pretty cool, like being a team. But I haven't heard anything about it since. So I don't know if this is a online gaming thing while COVID's done, or I don't know. I'm going to try and remember where I was now. And apparently the maps don't update. I'm going to say I was right there. That'll do. Let's give it a go. Hey, good guess. And I'm in the wrong seat. might even turn my preferences down. Nope. Keep in mind that I'm not facing the correct direction. There we go, now I am. So I can keep bringing out locomotives on top of the carriage because they run on a channel. They only listen to one channel. So if I bring out an exact replica of this build, it'll listen to the carriages of another person. If I bring out a different build completely, they won't listen to the carriages because they're on a separate channel. And I'll make sure that all my channels are completely different. And as I was saying, this is the last episode of this build. You'll obviously see a edited version of an advertisement come up on the channel soon for this. And that'll probably be about it for the mesh build until I can figure out what I want to build next. I've had some thoughts, but nothing that really excites me. I'd really like to do a steam locomotive, but I don't have the scripts for the wheels. I'm going to have a chat with a few people, see if I can join the cool kids club. Yeah, that's about it. I'm just going to make a video for now. There is a challenge that I'd like to do, and that's make a locomotive that we used to have here in Australia that just does not exist anymore. There is no copies left whatsoever. So it's going to be a lot of tinkering around and seeing what I can find in the way of maybe wiki pages and things like that. So I have had a few people send pictures of their own builds to me as well. Now, I think I've got a few links to some builds, and that's all I've got. If I was prepared today, I would have brought the link around to this, I think it was a Flickr page for this locomotive. It just looked amazing. It was a full mesh locomotive build, and it was an English build. It looked really good. I was actually blown away. Apparently it was just a static model. And they were thinking about doing something with it later on. The only problem with this build is I can't take the carriages down to what do they want to call the place? Belisario. Cannot be done. Which, you know what, we should just go there now. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to res it out. I think there's a 256 prim limit, and I think I'm 167, but they're very narrow plots, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it or not. Actually Is it Pug Wash? I think it's Pug Wash. Find out soon enough. Had a weird name. Yeah, it looks good to me. Yeah, that looks good. So we've got a res zone here. Oh wow, a lot of things have changed. Okay. Let's get that locomotive out. So once again, we go just to show. Jump in the locomotive. Now you're going to see a problem straight away. Don't think that they fixed this either. Yeah, there you go, like that. The system that they run here, I'm just going to delete these. And delete. The system that they run here is that only one locomotive can be on one track at one time. That's the theory behind it. However, if you've got a friend and they've got a locomotive, they'll be right behind you. So I don't understand how that works. In theory, it doesn't work. I'm guessing the reason behind it is to stop automated cars from getting around. Things like the green flying tram, things like the JavaScript pods, things like the old taxis that used to get around. Now, obviously, that takes into consideration the carriages as well that I'm running, because they're unmanned vehicles. So, unfortunately, I can't use vehicles, I can't use carriages on Belisario. You allow carriages and then all of a sudden you've got automated vehicles. So, it's a shame, but as far as I know, they haven't done anything to the rails around here really. They've done absolutely nothing. I don't mind filming down around these areas because they do look really nice. And I think I will film here just to say that, hey, the train does actually work here. Just don't use the carriages. Not allowed to. So, it is the last episode, and that's why I'm cracking open a crispy boy. Obviously, if you've watched the series through from start to finish, you can see how the times when I was getting stressed out, it wasn't because of how difficult the project was. It was more or less just what was going on around me, around the house here in real life. Noises and things like that just aggravating you. When you're cool, calm and collected,
you can pump one of these locomotives out in one day, easy, very easily done. I did that with a VRC locomotive. I just pumped it out in one day, had it scripted the whole way, it was running. So one thing I am going to do around here is I'm going to do a bit of filming. We find the most picturesque kind of places, find some tunnels, find some areas that are a bit grubby. These locomotives were never really near the beach, so I'm not going to put them near the beach area around Belisario. Might have them around like a cobblestone kind of an area. Maybe a real hilly, tunnel-y kind of area. Looks like they need more guides in that area. But that's basically it. That's the job done. The other reason why I actually focused on this locomotive is because there's so many variants in colours. If we go to... Have I got Chrome open? Probably not. You'll see that when you actually Google the image, there's so many different colour variations. There's Pacific National, the one that we've just done, which is oh jeez, Tuscan, I think it's called Tuscan. You got all your different candies. You got a different kind of Tuscan there as well. That's candy, red, white, yellow. And you got a different kind of candy. I can't remember the name of that one, unfortunately. Multiple different Pacific National colours. Multiple different brands as well. Like can't remember what brand that one was. Yeah, bicentenary colour. I think that's 125 years of the railway. That was a good one. Then there's Grain Corp as well. There's a railway model right there. I wouldn't mind doing that. That'd be really good. Another State Rail one. There's so many different colours. There you go, here's another one here. Vixig. I'm not sure what Vixig is, sorry. They've been used all over the place. And I believe that there was a whole heap of South Australian models as well that we can also incorporate into the build. And the difference has been maybe just like an air conditioning unit on top. That's nothing dramatic. You can stick, you know, whatever you want on there. Everything's working really nicely. It works really well on the turntables as well, and the other unit that I've got down there in Chiltro. So I'm really happy. Actually, what I should do is take a really nice picture of it. Like Locomotive Only, put it on a shirt, something like that. Something like I watched the series. That'd be pretty cool. Actually, I don't know what that did. Some merch would go pretty good. Maybe put down some freebies or something like that down in Chiltro. Now where's this going to send us? That's what I thought. I'm still waiting for the day when they fix all this up. Then again, I don't know if it's fixed or not. I don't know if it's finished. Why didn't that work? That's caution. Very strange, very strange. Last week I actually missed out on an episode which was going to be all about doing your final picture shot and stuff like that for advertisement. I was looking forward to doing that. Unfortunately, I had a bit of an accident around home, and I'm on the tail end of recovery right now, so it's a shame. I really wanted to get on and do it too, but I was just stuck sitting down and laying down. These things happen. Yeah, so probably cut a short one today. Sure, it's been fun doing this one. If you've got any suggestions for a build or something like that you want to see done, I try and steer clear of cars. The car market in Second Life is massive, and I know I can't compete. I would like to make some Australian cars, that'd be pretty cool. I've done some Australian boats. the thing I just like doing is trains. That's what I'm known for, so I'll just stick with it. If there is a train out there, an Australian train that you like, maybe give us a yell. Put it forward, say something in the comments below. I really want to do, I think it's B61. Bernie Baker's B61, I think it is. I'll do that next. In that brand new colour too. I reckon that brand new colour looks great. The golden museum one. Yep. I see no one's been collecting the graffiti off the walls. I'm guessing Belisario is dead now. One of them overnight kind of things. No one on the map. Unless we got a railway out of it. Yeah, so once again, the main reason why I wanted to do this series was to actually show a form of making money. Obviously, I've put this into a Casper system. You could also put it onto the Second Life marketplace, where people can actually pick it up and just go from there. A lot of my stuff is actually, you have to visit somewhere to actually pick it up. What's going on there? This will send us in the wrong direction. Nope. Hey, finally someone. That's a bot. Something about strawberry steam. Okay. There's multiple different ways of selling the item as well. Like, I mean, I put it into Casper Tech. You could sell it on Second Life Marketplace. However, you could also just put it in a print and just stick it on the wall, put it on a table, put it wherever you want, and get people to buy it from there. That'd probably be the most cost-effective way of doing it too. Dinosaur. Something different. Yeah, putting it straight into a prim, setting up all your setting all of your actual content to what you want. Actually having the boxes of content which is copyable as well, so that people can open that up to put it into a folder is always good, because you don't want a lot of your junk being just put straight into the object folder. You want it to be labelled, you want it to look nice. You want it somewhere where it's easily accessible in the search as well. There's a lot of things to where you can advertise it. You put it on Instagram to advertise what you're doing. I've obviously already put this up on a Facebook group, which you'll see right there. which is just the shop's Facebook group. The shop site works alright. Social media is pretty good for selling stuff. There's also groups where you can join on Facebook, like, well, not only Facebook, most of the socials. There'd be like residents of Second Life, or group buy, sell, swap Second Life, or something like that. These groups are great, but people lose interest in it because it's just continual sell, 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 sell. Nobody wants to listen to it. Nobody wants to be spammed over and over and over and over again. You can only spam so much, and people will get the absolute craps with you. I don't recommend joining groups like that. I recommend just pull out your own kind of thing where you have 100% control. And just don't spam. Maybe have the old golden rule was sell yourself 1 out of 10 times and then do updates as to what Second Life's doing 9 of the other 10. That's always a good thing, and it keeps people interested in what's happening, and it gives you more content as well to put out. It keeps everyone really up there and really looking forward to what's going on. Socials are pretty good, but at the same time they can be time consuming. Maybe you don't want to use your full proper name on the account. Maybe you need to make another account just to disguise your own name. It's like, it can be pretty crazy. I tend to use YouTube, Facebook. I do have a few other social accounts, but they don't really get a lot of response. There's not a lot of people out there that use them socials anymore, so just throw them in the bin, get rid of them. One thing I want to look into is Instagram. Apparently that's blowing up at the moment, and I believe that's part of Facebook, I think. Apparently they bought them over. So that's things to look into when you're trying to start your own business in Second Life. Maybe if I was to start today, brand new, fresh tomorrow, which I wouldn't, because that would just be freaking crazy. That and the fact that I don't have a job at the moment, it definitely would not be the kind of thing that I'd be doing. But if I did have that time and money there where I could get another account and start all over from scratch, it'd be quite an interesting way and a good research tool as well. Because when I started, I had a lot of options. There was a lot of great things out there to do, a lot of great money spinners where you could make money. These days, a lot of them money spinners are gone. A lot of them are gone. If I had the scripting knowledge to bring that back, I would. I would in a heartbeat. There we are, back at the beginning again. Let's go to... Obviously you can't use carriages there, that's why I was only using the... what do you call it? That's why I was only using the locomotive down there. I reckon reckon that's where we want to be, right there. Yep, and we want to come across to, when things load in, we're right there. Okay, now we're in the Bay City area. Oh, it wasn't the Bay City area. And we'll go. Keep in mind that the res area is behind that pole. So, chat. Carriage res. There we go. Oh no, what happened to the brewery? Oh no, it's still there. Cool. Okay. So obviously down at Bay City again. When I'm doing a lot of diesel filming, I like to use Bay City. There's a lot of really good, close, tight-knit stuff, kind of stuff. Like this, this here, for instance, will actually rise up out of the water. It looks really good. Funny thing is, the guide still stays there. So. One thing you're going to notice as well in Bay City is that the trains are lower into the ground. You can see there. That is because they wanted cars to run over the top of the guide system, and I think the guide had to come down. I think it was .05, I think it was, so the cars could bump up and over the square cube in the middle of the rail. So I'll definitely be doing a bit of filming down here. I wouldn't mind actually getting the locomotive in here. As you can see there, maybe that'd be a pretty cool starting point, you know, chuck it down there. Oh, I forgot to make that cube invisible. Oh, tough. There's some really nice pictures around here. Going to daylight settings would probably look better, wouldn't it? Environment, sunset. Yeah, it looks good too. So I'll definitely be doing some filming down here. That's the three main areas that I like to film in. There are private railways that I could go and film in. There's also the premium area. What's the time? I can do one quick lap of this place and we'll go to the premium area. I don't think a lot of people have actually been to the premium area. Alright, Willow, how's it going? Sorry you gotta go now. Catch you later on. This is another place. I had a really good experience here one day. I was coming across here. And I think I was in the steam train and I was just cruising along. And Mary Ann McCann comes straight over the top of me in a plane. Landed straight on the runway. I thought it was pretty cool. She wouldn't have bashed into me or anything like that because the locomotives are usually phantom, which means you just walk straight through. So there wouldn't have been any issues there whatsoever. It just looked really cool. I wish I recorded that. As I was saying, I had problems with the doors. You can see how that's nice and flat now. It's not 100% perfect, and you can kind of still see a marker in it. For some reason my cursor doesn't want to be filmed. Oh, there you go, like that. You can probably see the lines in there. It's a big M kind of a shape. Well, I was on both sides of the doors. And I actually looked into it and I couldn't get rid of it. I've done the best I can. And I actually found a bit of a loop in Blender. Which just as I was packaging it up, I looked at it and I went, nah, I don't like that. I'm not selling it like that. So I did a whole heap of research and actually found out what the problem was. Even though I went out there and cleaned the model up, and I'm going to Blender quickly. Yeah, if I can remember this off the top of my head, this would be great. So you go into the top section up here in there, and there it is there, normals. If you put that into auto smooth, it pretty much does it all for you, and it makes it look really nice. When I didn't use auto smooth, you could see that V sections and the M shape really, it was standing out big time. Let's go to the premium place. Yeah, if I can remember what the... I think that's gone now. I can probably get rid of that. I think it was called Premium from memory. Premium Res Zone for trains. There you go. There you go. Always snow season down here. All the time. And the only place with the overhead wires too. Ooh, the premium perks. Whoop-de-doo. Wait. This is the premium track, so it's 4 sims. Dual lane all the way around. They do cross over. Oh, it looks as if it's been widened too. Looks a lot wider than I used to remember. Maybe they've been down here working on it. Obviously, you can get your premium stuff up here. Please come closer. So it's an interesting area. I believe Michael Linden built it. Now this is when they were really trying to push out the premium memberships. This was probably about, geez, maybe 5-6 years ago. And I believe there's a horse track around here too, so control them. That'll show you that it's only 4 sims. Two tracks all the way around. A lot of trained people come down here. Obviously not right now because I'm in Australian times. A lot of the Europeans like coming down here because it's just nice and quiet and they can cruise around in circles all day. Which is, yeah, nothing wrong with that, I guess. There's quite a few railway people that actually do play the game as well, so they like coming down here just for the peace and quiet. Obviously you're going to get all your group calls and group chats coming on you, but I guess you can't get griefed here as well, which is good. I personally don't think that having a full simulator kind of set up like this as a personal use, I don't think it would work very well. I have thought about it. However, the price to pay for it, I think you'd be looking at close on maybe $2,000 a month, which is about $2,000 a month more than I'm getting paid right now. So but at the same time, you wouldn't be able to make some really nice, good climbing hills. There wouldn't be a great deal you could do. You'd have rails everywhere and it'd look pretty bad. I'm kind of used to that Australian scenery where it's like 2 rails heading in one direction forever. Whereas if I looked out the corner of my eye now, you can see another rail out there. Kind of looks a bit odd. But it is a nice track. It's a good test track, and I believe it has been set to the SLR standards. No, it hasn't. It's close. It's not exact. There is a horse track around here somewhere, and I believe you can go on that rail as well. Jump over that creek bed. Oh wow, everything's been changed. Well, there's a good shot. That'll look mint in record, and that'll look absolutely mint. Oh, where's the rest of the garages gone? Okay, just stay there, mate. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to do that with 2 accounts because I've only got 1 premium account. So unless I can find another premium person to come down and help me film. I think I know of a few people. I think that's almost 1 whole lap. It looks that way, doesn't it? Yeah, that's 1 whole lap. So yeah, that's where we're at. Oh, it's one thing I hate. I need to fix up all the bloody. Jeez. There's actually a sensor on all crossings, and it looks as if they've all been taken out. Why? I don't understand why, but yeah. I reckon Pat should implement it. I'll get it all fixed up. Well, that's it for the premium. Delete that. Let's go back to Chilp Tree. Control M. Search for Chilp Tree. Okay. Slow down the graphics a little bit. So, as I was saying every single beginning of the videos, it is pretty easy to make something for the railway. The best part about the railway is you can go up to 256 print. You're not going to have any major dramas. A lot of the scripts that I did use in the beginning, that is, before I started bringing carriages into the situation, I actually pulled it out of, is it that train? Might have been the 2010 train, might have been. I used scripts out of that in the beginning which is going to get you moving along really fine, nothing wrong with that. You can add some extra little bits and pieces to it to make a vent go around the top like we did on the other locomotive just then. You can make double smokestacks. You can make smokestacks come out the side. At the end of the day, you don't even have to make a realistic locomotive. You can dream one up. I've seen locomotives that have been pushed by noobs, just with wheels, holding onto the wheels like a wheelbarrow cart race style thing. That seemed to work pretty good. In a meeting a long time ago, the labs once said, we don't care what you build to go on the railroad. You could even build a potato with ears. And I'm still yet to see that potato with ears. So maybe that could be the next project. Have to look into that. But that's basically, I haven't really done any shonky things like to the point where I've put hidden scripts or anything like that into it. I've just used everything from the VRC. If you want the carriage scripts, that is V2.6.1.2. And I'm not hiding that either. I'm really not hiding it. You'll see that up on the board over here. It's all written here what I use. Fall to the ground, okay. As you can see there, it's written there on the wall. V2.6.1.2. Very basic. But it's a very nice, simple way of making some cash. I'll make a little bit of money out of it. Obviously not enough to cover the tier that I've got, which I'm going to have to do something about soon. But it's a good community, and people like seeing something new on the rails. I know of many people out there building trains, but they don't really want to get out there and make them work and sell them. I guess it's just an art kind of thing for them. If you want to turn that art project into a workable locomotive, I'm happy to give you a hand. I know quite a few people that are really good at scripting. They could have probably turned that four simulator premium zone into something absolutely batshit crazy. Yeah. For now, I think I've set out to do everything that I wanted to do. It is the last episode. So, why I wanted to make the series, I wanted to show you how, if I can do it, well, basically anybody can. So, I find that making mesh is a lot easier than scripting. Well, I couldn't script my way out of a wet paper bag. I can read it, I can understand it. I can't make it. I don't know why I can't do that, but anyway. Also in that whole build, I didn't do anything complex. I just kept it basic. I didn't want to have it complex and confusing. I just wanted it just forward, easy to do. Locomotive and carriages, as I was saying, I need something else for the boards. I've always wanted to remake the 48 class. That carriage was a spare of the moment kind of thing. Eventually I will make that locomotive with the old style of passenger cars. The programs that I use, basic, it's all freebies. Obviously the next step is going to be Sony Vegas, where I'm going to have to edit a video. That's going to be the only part where I've ever paid for anything like that. The order of things done, as you've seen in the early beginnings. I'm not going to bother showing you right now because I've got a big mess on the table. Obviously I drew everything out on paper. There's the drawing right there on the right hand side down below, and that's where we started from episode 1. I planned it out. I made sure I knew where I was going to separate everything. I knew where I was going to place things such as engineer displays, where I wanted all the sound to be so that everything sounded in the right spot, like motor behind, not in front. Obviously building it, then bringing your GIMP image into Blender to make sure that it all fits and wraps perfectly. I prefer to do that before bringing it into Second Life, to wrap it in Second Life, because you can be spending money through the nose if you haven't wrapped it correctly in Blender first. Setting the perms was a big thing. It was a big thing on this model because it is actually for grid haul. I had to have that API covered. It had to work, but it also couldn't be modified. Obviously there you can see the terminal on the right hand side. That's where you get your HUD from. You collect your HUD, collect the locomotive, put the HUD on, go out and pick up freight from around the place. I should have really done that today. That would have been a good part of the video. Video advertising I'm going to be doing tomorrow. Selling, I've already made the advertising picture. It's already up on the wall, people can already see it. I've advertised it on Facebook. We are doing it now on YouTube Live, and I'll be doing a proper promotional video sometime soon. When? I'm not sure. Socials, it's always good to advertise on the socials. You get a mixed variant of people following on, let's say, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube's, Twitter. I've probably got one person on Twitter that follows me for Second Life content. I've probably got 20 people on Twitter that follow me about Sea of Thieves things. But then again, I go onto Facebook and I've got more people following me on Facebook for Second Life stuff. So you really have to put your fingers out there and find out where the people are, what they're doing, what platforms they like. Don't just shit can one because it's not doing well. If you've got suggestions for the next build, I'm more than happy to have a listen, see what you guys have got or thoughts coming up as well. If you do want to find out more, or what the next build might be, or when the next series might be, you can find that out on Facebook, which is right there. There. Australian Locomotive Shed. Keep in mind that I don't have control of that page. I've got other people that look after it for me. You can always ask the question and they can forward it on to me and I can reply back, or just contact me in World. There is a letterbox over in the other buildings. Actually, I should put the letterbox over here. I'll do that for you. If you've made a locomotive after watching this series, send me a picture of it. Beginning of the next series, I might even share the picture up there for everyone to see. Show people that, you know, what you've done if this video series has actually helped you. But for now, that is the end of the series. And thanks to everybody who has been watching. Thanks to everyone that has liked and subscribed. I hope there has been something out there or that has helped you along. Or maybe it's broken the ice for you a little bit and maybe you're more game to go into Blender now. With Blender, that's probably going to be the hardest part of the whole situation. And just use it, have fun with it, and eventually you're going to find the shortcut keys. Shortcut keys are the easiest way. You can go into Blender and use all your side scrolling kind of stuff, tools, creative stuff, relations to animations. A lot of this stuff you're not going to use in Second Life. But that's one of the ways of actually making money, and that was my goal. That was my goal, to actually show you how to make some money in the game. Don't call it a game either. People get upset. Well, back in my day they did anyway. At the moment that's probably the easiest way, and if you didn't have land, build something, put it up on the marketplace, you'll probably have a constant flow of money coming from there. Once you've got a little bit of money, if you want to invest in land, it's even better. You'll have somewhere for people to drive past and actually see what you're doing. Obviously, I'm in a pretty good area where where people interested in what I'm doing can come and actually visit. So, lucky for me. For now, but I'm out of here. And thanks once again. All the socials are coming up soon. Don't forget to like and join. And thanks once again. Catch you later on.